out of the 8 candidates that are sitting at this table,
Hold it up.
is there one candidate here that would actually speak to closing the immigration issue for a 10-year period and allow Canadian citizens to benefit from this country and close the borders to all the refugees that we're paying for?
The National Citizens Alliance is actually very passionate on this subject. Obviously, I think if you've done any research on us, that is the foundation of our platform. While we're not in agreement to closing immigration, to answer your question, we are going to drop it significantly to 50,000 immigrants or less per year. Well, you could pretty much consider that a closed border. We're not against immigration. We don't think it is un-Canadian to be able to say we have to look after Canadians first. We will take the immigration people, immigrants that are coming in, and making sure that they are of the highest quality in Canada. They will be completely vetted and integrated for a first-class world. And they will also be checked for radical ideologies, which we have seen in Canada is not working. Thank you.
Okay, I'm really distressed over this question, as you can probably see. Okay, we are all immigrants. I said it before. You gotta own it. It's true. And if we're just talking from a business sense, that is the worst idea I've ever heard. If you understand economics, even in the smallest bit, you will understand that we rely on immigration to make our economy work. You tell the farmers around here what will happen if you close our borders to the migrant workers that grow most of our produce. And to simplify it, to even say Canadian values and talk about integration, who decides what a Canadian value is? My value is different from your values, and your values different from their values, and that's actually what's Canadian about us and what's human about us. And so when we hear these questions and we hear about the scapegoating and talking about immigrants, we've seen this before. We have seen that behavior before. We have seen scapegoating in World War II. We turned the Jews away because we wanted to make sure they were the right kind of immigrants, and we have a very dirty history of being very racist with our immigration policies, and that has to stop, and you need to reject this kind of ideology.
I'm really very troubled by this trying to equate refugees and immigrants and closing our borders. I'm a 4th generation Japanese Canadian, and going to what Jessa had said, World War II was an ugly time in Canadian history. And if we close the borders and we're developing this fear and suspicion and scapegoating, it turns to Canadians. My father was born, imprisoned in a World War II internment camp in British Columbia, in Canada. He spent the first 4 years of his life living in an internment camp because we turned on Canadians, because we grew this fear and suspicion of the other. And these were Canadian-born people. I was born here, my father was born here, my grandparents were born here. So I'm very troubled by the comments that were here. Immigration and refugees and opening up our borders as being warm, welcoming people are what make us Canadian. And we offer that safe haven to not only Canadians that live here, but those that are seeking and fleeing persecution and war and terror.
Administer.
Thank you. I'd like to respond to both my Liberal and NDP candidates here. I'm sorry, I was born in Canada. I'm not an immigrant, okay? Quite frankly, at the end of the day, the people who came here originally and founded this place, that's wonderful. I appreciate all the work they've done. But right now, my heritage is here. I started here. I didn't start off in my background of Germany or Hungary, okay? I want to know, just out of curiosity, how well the open border policy worked for Britain and France.
Nobody cares where you were born. I don't care where any of you were born. We came to this country as families, and to insinuate that people coming over now with maybe different colored skin have different motivations for their families, That's ridiculous. No, we are talking about, because we're talking about the global south. You are talking about immigrants from the Middle East. You're talking about people from South America. That's predominantly who is making these refugee claims. But when we talk about how our families came over and worked so hard and built what they did, we're assuming that the migrants today are going to be different. And that rhetoric is based on racism.